This, what I'm showing you right now, also these animations, all of these were done just with Claude code.
I have so many questions here. Opus, as good as it is not creating this. There's something else going on here.
The only dependency related to animations that I have is framer motion. But like, I didn't make it. I mean,
where's it getting all of the images and screenshots from?
I don't know. I don't know.
What?
I mean,
so you're telling me it's just pulled in like the Stripe logo?
Yes. It pulled this in. I promise you, I did not tinker with this.
Okay, I am shocked. This is not quite what I expected.
And on the note of front ends, this, what I'm showing you right now, also these animations, this is just like a concept prototype for the MemberStack homepage that I'm doing.
Yeah.
All of these were done just with Claude code. I did not interfere with the development in any way. It just keeps on going.
Okay, I have so many questions here. So the
first... Asking, I'm going to keep scrolling.
Okay, the first question that I have here is the model that you're using is Opus 4.5, correct?
Yep.
Okay, the second question that I have is what kind of libraries are you using in order to like streamline this? Because Opus, as good as it is not creating this. I can tell you that right now. There's something else going on here.
Well, the only dependency related to animations that I have is framer motion, right? It's just called motion now. But like, I didn't make it. Like, okay, these, for example, like I told it, okay, add the following features. I'm like, make a micro interaction for each one. So for passwordless auth, it made this.
Where's it getting all of the images and screenshots from?
I don't know.
What?
I mean,
so you're telling me it's just pulled in like the Stripe logo?
Yes. It genuinely pulled this in. I promise you, I did not tinker with this. I tinkered with it by being like the center. It was a bit like up high up to the top, like a few simple visual things. But like this animation right here was not only was this one-shotted, but it was one-shotted along with all four of these, all three of these, and this one, all in one prompt. Now, I tweaked it after that with Claude, as in, like what I said, these, for example, like it had this animation, it was beautiful, but this dot was like up here. And I'm like, no, that looks weird. So I take a screenshot, send it to it, say, okay, move this dot down here. But like straight up, this 3 weeks ago? No, not happening. Absolutely not. I would have
asked. I am shocked. I am actually just going to say straight out, this is not quite what I expected. I'm shocked. So, okay, so is it basically those are the logos that it generates, and then you can basically just say, can you replace it with like these files, and you just add the files to your like folder?
Yeah. So like I would open now the public folder within the project folder, upload like Notion.svg, Webflow SVG Zapier, and then I would just say replace it with these logos. Sometimes it finds it on its own, but usually like if you want an actual specific logo, you need to like the FAQ section.
When you are designing these pages, when you're prompting it, are you priming it to follow certain processes or best practices, or are you literally just saying create me like a one-pager about this, and this?
Okay, so what I did for this, and I will say up until now, this is it just keeps, there's way more pages. Like it just keeps going. The way that I made this was, first of all, so what I'm doing, I'm literally just prototyping, experimenting with the MemberStack homepage. And what I did was I got the Playwright MCP. You know what the Playwright MCP is?
Yeah. Oh, I love it, man. Honestly.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, it allows it to take and analyze screenshots of whatever you're building. What's not to love? It did that on the MemberStack site, like on our current homepage. I had it do that. And then I'm like, okay, now make a markdown like brand guideline document explaining everything that's on this page and the way the brand speaks and all that fun stuff, the colors that are used, like corners, all that stuff. And then I tweaked it by telling it, hey, we want to change it from X to Z. So I got a branding document where I'm like, the colors are right, the brand messaging is right, all of that stuff is great. Then I told it, I actually sent it a screenshot again of the whole MemberStack site, and I'm just like, make a homepage for this. So my prompting, a lot of people, they talk about their fancy prompting, the JSON prompting, they're this, they're that. I will literally just be talking to Claude and I'll say like, this looks like shit. I do not have any sort of like fanciness with my prompting, but because I built up this foundation and then it generated the page. That was not the page that it generated. It was a phenomenal start, but it wasn't the page. So section by section, hero first, tweak, 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 tweak. Okay, it looks good. Moving on, moving on. That homepage took about 8 hours of prompting to build. But once that's done, now I go to another page and I say, build me a page for this feature. Here's the copy. And in 30 minutes, you can go from like nothing to that.
I love it because I see how you prompted as well. And it's like, interestingly enough, I don't know if you've found this, is the more specific you get, the more it like isn't as good, if you know what I'm saying, because it's kind of like, it's trying to please your prompts in a way. It's trying, but like sometimes what you're asking it to do just does not make sense. But it's like still trying to make it work. So I feel like just like the free kind of like, just this is what I'm after. Here's like some references, go and do it is actually like the best starting point. And then doing what you said, going through it section by section and being like, okay, here's how we fix this. This is exactly how I've been doing it with like setting up my workflows and my scripts. I'm just like, go ahead. This is what I'm trying to do. Here's my schema. Here are my API docs. Do what you think's right. Add console logs. And then I'm literally like copy and pasting console logs back into the thing. And I'm going through it section by section. And as it's getting better, it's like one-shotting it way more because it has those reference points to be like, oh yeah, let's go ahead and do this, this, and this. Follow-up question for you. When you jumping in there, are you specifying like what languages you want it to be written in? Do you say, I want this to be done in HTML, React, whatever?
Well, I always start the project from a boilerplate every single time. When it comes to web-based projects, I always start it from a Vercel boilerplate, which uses React and Next.js. Why? Well, because that's like what I've heard people recommend.
Can you show me the boilerplates that you use?
Yeah. Here, let me actually. I just realized I closed off everything. Why did I do that?
That one?
It's literally just so I don't have this problem anymore. But when I started using this was when I was really getting into vibe coding, and I noticed like once I got a project off the ground, it was very easy. But at the start, I'd be like, set up a project, dev server won't run, install Tailwind wouldn't work. Like so. Starting from this makes it so much easier, but I have done other things too. Like I made a mobile app and that's using Flutter. The reason I use Flutter is because I remember talking to some developers a while back who were building a mobile app and I was asking them like, don't you have to do separate code for Android and for iOS? And they're like, no, we just use Flutter. So I usually do not let the LLM decide the tech stack. I don't stand by that decision. Like maybe it would be a better idea. Maybe I'm kind of rabbit holing it into choosing a specific tech stack when another one would be better. But that is one thing I usually do not let AI decide is the tech stack.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, I mean, that's like one of the main things that I'm very specific about, like, here are the tools that I want to use, all that kind of stuff, because it can lead you astray. And then before you know it, it's like you've spent 4 days trying to do something that was never going to work. And I mean, like, one of the things that I've noticed is like, so a lot of people who are getting into this space, who might be like brand new to building these sites, use tools like Lovable, all that kind of stuff to build. And I hear about this the most. They try to build things like directories that are supposed to have like really good SEO, but the default frameworks that are used just do not do server-side rendering. So, because like the default framework that it will use is like Vita or whatever it's called and stuff like that, and it doesn't allow for server-side rendering. Now I'm kind of like, all right, you kind of need to think about that in advance because your use case is like super important there. And so like, I feel like what AppGen has done is like really like kind of pointed me towards like a few other frameworks that are really good, like Astro, all that kind of stuff, to give you a bit of an idea of what's appropriate when. I mean, like one of the trappings is it's like when something like Google launches like a new model that is like fantastic at design and you like jump in there, again, it's like you need to understand what is actually happening behind the scenes in order for you to actually get good value out of it, because otherwise you'll just end up with something that looks very good but just doesn't even work.
That is so when it comes to stuff like Lovable and even Webflow AppGen, I have a lot of thoughts on. I actually made a video this morning. It's probably going to be live in 17 minutes, specifically with my honest thoughts on AppGen, which are a mixture of loving it and hating it and being really hopeful, but also scared for what it's going to become. But the problem with any of these tools I find where it's an all-in-one, Lovable, Webflow AppGen, Bolt, Replit, all of these things, is like, they control all of it. If they have an issue, you have an issue. Now, I'm not talking about necessarily them just shutting down and going out of business, but like my stack, I use Claude Code. Mm-hmm. I deploy pretty much always with Vercel, and I use typically Next.js and React. And we all know what I use for auth. That's no secret. If any one of these things stops working for me, I can stop using it, plug something else in, and there you go. Like when Gemini 3 came out, post Gemini 3, pre Opus 4.5, I was like, okay, Gemini 3 is so much better at front end. So I was like, I want to have something that I can work with Gemini 3. When you're looking at something like Webflow AppGen, you can't select the model. I know with Lovable, Replit, you almost always can. But like, you know what I'm saying? So if new technology 100%. Comes out and I want to swap it out, I want to understand what's going on. Like I use the exact same tools that a professional developer uses. I may not be able to write the code by scratch, but I use the same tools. And if I go to one of them, they will be able to fix my vibe coded slop.
Yeah. I feel like we share a lot of the same opinions on this. The thing about tools like Lovable, and there's tons of them now. I mean, it seems like every other week there's a new thing that's come out that is the next big thing and stuff like that. But it's what these tools are particularly good at is creating the impression that you can speak into a microphone and create an app because of all the marketing that is built around it. And it's just, first of all, I think it's a good thing if it gets people into wanting to explore the space. But also, at that point, you are so close to actually just straight up coding that you may as well just actually learn how the actual tools work. And I'm with you. I just feel like what makes something like Lovable is so appealing is the same thing that makes Webflow so appealing, is the immediate visual feedback that you get from the actual tool that you're learning. However, I just feel like if you want that feedback, you want that visual feedback so that you can learn how moving something actually affects what you see. That is what these tools don't really do. It's not as easy to just jump into a file, change the padding of this and that if you don't know what you're coming from. That's what Webflow does well. So I feel like Webflow is just way better at showing you, hey, if you move this, then this happens in your front end. For me personally, I feel like learning how everything fits together with no code and then straight transitioning to something like Claude Code is probably the best way to get into AI coding, if you know what I'm saying.
I agree 100%. I just think it's a big gap. So I think that anyone and everyone, I know some people who've been sending they're getting their parents vibe coding with Google AI Studio, Lovable, stuff like that. That's really cool because people can build stuff for themselves, for their family, just because it's cool. It's fun and it gets them into it. And I love that. And I'm all there for that. But the difference is I would be able to build, I'm not going to say an enterprise application, but I would be able to build, manage, and maintain an application doing, at least a couple tens of thousands a month of monthly active users with no problem because I understand how everything works. But if you have someone who doesn't, they don't have that foundation. They don't know where to look. If something in my app is broken, I almost always know the exact file where something is broken in it because I understand that. And so if you give someone who just has no idea, then I don't know. I'd like to see it.
I mean, one of the things that I have really as I've jumped into this space more, the one skill that I feel has been the most useful one to learn, honestly, is Git and how to use GitHub. That is something that is not even on the...
I'm so bad at version control. It's embarrassing. That's my biggest shame as a developer.
So I actually think that this is something that is just because of the habits that we've developed in the no-code world, where it's just like, we've got the .webflow.io domain and then we've got production, and sometimes they accidentally both tick. The concept of that doesn't actually exist in our world because it's just not feasible in that way. You really need to like spend the time kind of understanding what exactly is going on and abstracting that down to like, how would this work in the no code world? And so like, for example, like I was explaining what I had learned about it when it comes to like, you know, merging, pull requests, all that kind of stuff. And it's literally like, you're cloning your Webflow project, you're making all of the changes, testing it all out, and if it doesn't break, you like copy and paste it into your main project. That is one of the most important things that I think you need to understand when you are trying to build like enterprise, but even just like production apps. Because the second you get paying customers, if you vibe code something that like breaks your entire app, that's like a massive problem.